Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today's video is a solo hot tent overnighter in a very snowy forest. So as you guys can see, the snow has accumulated nicely in this woodland. I've chose a nice bright yellow tent to really pop out in the landscape. I've already got the tent set up with the ground sheet inside. I've got my mini titanium stove, chimney pipe already assembled. The only thing that I have left to put inside is my sleeping pad and my sleeping bag. I'm going to set those inside for now, but I'm not going to set them up because I'm going to be in and out of the tent, and I don't want anything getting covered with snow or getting damaged. But I am going to grab all that stuff, get it in the foot end of the tent just so it's out of the snow. Get some cooking gear out and collect some wood, and then get some water because I need to have a hot coffee in this beautiful, beautiful fresh snow. It is absolutely incredible out here right now, and it is forecasted for another 4 inches overnight. So hopefully this trip is very enjoyable, but we got to get some work done first. All right, well, we definitely had to work for this cup of coffee today. Made it out of the snow on the ground, melted it down multiple times to get a kettle full of water. Definitely worth it. We've got snow coffee and we've got it in the falling snow. So it is now coming down pretty steady. It's very, very fine snow, but it's actually accumulating very, very quickly. So I'm interested to see what it looks like in the morning time. Very excited for that. But right now, enjoying this hot cup of coffee. We probably only have maybe about an hour and a half to 2 hours of sunlight left today. So it is getting a little bit dark out in the forest. And I'm definitely loving this vibe right now. The snow, the trees are just hanging with snow right now. It's gonna be dark shortly. The tent's gonna be lit up, glowing, nice and warm inside with the wood stove. So everything's coming together really well, guys. I'm gonna sit right here on the stump and just chill out with this forest view for a little bit, enjoy my coffee, and then I'm gonna make my way back over to the tent. And I did manage to find a dead standing piece of wood, a really nice piece of hardwood. I'm gonna go grab that and also drag that over to the tent, start splitting that up, get it stacked inside, and then start on supper time. Cheers, guys. All right, so I'm all finished up with coffee and the snow is still coming down quite steady. I did go and cut that dead standing piece of hardwood. I cut it all in logs, if you guys can see behind the stove. And on the far side of the stove, it is all stacked in log form. So I am gonna need to baton that down later on. But right now, while I still have some daylight, I wanna switch my attention to cooking supper. That way I'm not fumbling around in the dark with a headlamp on. So I wanna get some of my stuff outside, cut up some vegetables. All I'm doing is fettuccine pasta with some olive oil, and I actually have the bottle in my pocket right now because it is somewhat frozen. So hopefully, yeah, so we're back to being liquid olive oil now. So if I set that down, it'll completely freeze up. So I'm just gonna keep this in my pocket until I'm ready to use it. Basically, I'm just doing fettuccine pasta with onion, Parmesan cheese, something really simple in the 750 ml titanium pot. And I think that'll be great. So I do have ramen for later on in the evening as well, and some hot chocolate and snacks inside of the tent when I do get hungry. But ultimately what I want to do is get this done out of the way, get the dishes cleaned up, and then I can sit out here or inside of the tent and enjoy the snow in the forest. So let's get cooking, guys. All right, guys, supper is ready. I just popped in the onions with the pasta, gave that a quick fry with some olive oil, putting in some Parmesan cheese right now to break up some of these clumps. And this is going to be a very, very simple supper and tasty at the same time. So put a little bit more olive oil in that. So super simple pasta dish, and bam, just like that, ready to go. So sitting inside of here right now, you guys can probably get the idea of why I didn't set up my air mattress and my sleeping bag. Coming in and out would just destroy it, absolutely. Sitting here, I've been loading in firewood, cutting, splitting all of this wood, and it would just get destroyed. So having the ground sheet's nice for this because I can still come in, sit down, stay dry, and then later on this evening when it does come time to actually set up the bedding arrangement, all I gotta do is just take a little piece of firewood, use it as a broom, scrape all the snow off, get my boots off and my sweater and these pants off, and I'll switch into my nighttime clothing. And then I'll be nice and dry. So then I can kind of manipulate on the floor, inflate the pad, get the sleeping bag out, situate my sweater and pants over here near the wood stove, so that'll dry out overnight. There's also hooks up on the tent that I can hang things from, so I'm definitely gonna be taking advantage of that later on this evening to dry out some boots, socks, sweater, all that stuff. But for right now, it's supper time, guys. I'm gonna shelter in the tent, right in front of the stove, eat some supper, and I'm gonna enjoy it. Okay guys, it is now nightfall and it is getting extremely cold outside. I've got my kettle on top of the stove right now. I did fill it up with snow and just basically making water. It's melting down, it's coming up to a boil, so that'll be nice drinking water for the morning to make coffee and breakfast. As you guys can see, the tent is nice and lit up, and I love having a bright tent in the winter time, especially where there's a lot of snow. It just glows in the forest and it makes it look incredible. So what you're looking at there is just my little USB light bulb. I plug it in my battery bank, hanging it up at the top of the tent. It does a tremendous job at lighting up the entire area. As it gets darker, that will glow and light up all the treetops in the forest. Just makes for a really awesome scene. So I got my backpack all bundled up for the night, and my shovel, my cutting board, that stuff's gonna stay outside tonight. If it does snow, everything will be totally fine. I got the rain fly on. And basically I'm going to be crawling inside of the tent very soon. I just wanted to get a little bit more snow in that kettle. That way I have that much more water for in the morning. So I'm going to be climbing inside in just a few minutes, get out of these heavy wet clothing, get my sleeping pad inflated, get the sleeping bag lofted up, and it's going to be hangout time inside of the tent tonight, guys. So I'll catch up with you guys inside. All right, so just making my way inside of the tent right now. I do have to brush all this snow up towards the wood stove. Now, it's not really a huge deal. I do still have my boots on and I am covered in snow right now. It's not a big deal because my air pad is gonna go on top of this. So I'm not gonna be sleeping on the wet floor. I'm gonna be sleeping on top of my sleeping mattress, which is down here, still inside of the stuff sack. My sleeping bag is all lofted up, but it is out of the stuff sack. So I got to get this inflated. I just want to have all this snow out of the way because it will freeze overnight, and I don't want my air mattress frozen to the ground sheet because that's never fun in the morning. So I'm going to brush all this snow out of the way and then kind of make this more livable inside. Get the front door zipped shut, get that stove cranked up, and get some temperatures rising in here because it is freezing cold. Right now it is 18 degrees Celsius inside with the door open. Outside it is negative 10 degrees Celsius. Once that door gets shut, I have no problem at all getting that stove cranked up in the inside of the tent up to 30 degrees Celsius. So I'll let you guys know in a little bit, but I've got a little bit of work and reconfiguring to do right now. So I'm gonna get all this done and bring you guys back. All right, so I've got the tent configured to sleep mode right now. I've got my wool sweater right up at the head end of my sleeping mattress, right by the wood stove to keep it nice and warm, and it'll help it dry out. It also helps protect my air mattress from the heat from the stove, because sometimes it does get very, very warm. I've got my down sleeping bag. Like I said, I got my Thermarest mattress. It is very, very cozy and warm in here. Right now it is 26 degrees Celsius inside, and that took probably about 10 minutes to get configured inside. So that should give you an idea on how fast it heats up. So I'm going to be lounging inside of the tent for the night. I do have a very large piece of hardwood that I got from that tree that I cut down right after supper. So I'm going to be loading this into the stove at bedtime, and that's the only piece of wood I'm going to put in there. That's just basically for condensation control. Right now there's really not a whole lot of condensation in here, to be totally honest. I don't really see much of anything, so I think it's going to be a pretty decent night. Usually when I have tents with snow skirts, that's when the condensation issues happen. And this is the only tent that I have with snow skirts that I actually use. So yeah, I don't think it'll be much of a problem, but I'll let you guys know in the morning if it is a problem. I do have both of my boots propped right next to the wood stove. Those are going to be nice and dry, as well as my pants are on the other side of the stove. So everything should be totally dry in the morning time. And I've even got two of my gloves hanging up top with this wire set up here with my light bulb. So everything should be dry in the morning time. But I gotta say, I'm super comfortable right now. I've been itching to get out of those heavy wet clothes all day long, and this is kind of my reward in the evening, is just crawling inside, getting dressed in a nice warm clothing, and just kind of lounging, just relaxing. So this is what I work for all day, is the nighttime. I love this time in the tent with the stove. It's nice and warm, and it's just everything comes together, and it's really, really comfortable. So I do have a bag of trail mix that I brought with me, which I'm going to be enjoying with a movie, because I do have movies saved on my phone, and it's going to be a long night as it is winter time. So I'm going to load a log in the wood stove, guys, and I'm going to start my relaxed time with the movie. So I'll catch you guys first thing in the morning. Good night, guys. Good morning, everybody. It is a blistering cold morning out here, negative 14 degrees Celsius, with a cool breeze coming in off of the lake right through the forest. I'm staring out at the sunrise coming up over the lake right now through the trees. I've got the hot tent in the background, and I decided to come right here where I had coffee yesterday, just because the scenery, the backdrop is just beautiful. It is crisp and cold, guys. My hands are so cold. In fact, I'm gonna get my gloves on. I got a pair of gloves tucked in my waistband right now, so it is a very, very frosty morning out here today. Last night went really well. The tent stayed very nice and warm, and I really didn't go through that much firewood. So I woke up really early this morning. There was snow crashing out of the trees and hit the tent and woke me up, and it was still dark. So I just stayed awake, and I ended up lighting the stove again and feeding it full of wood. So I burned more wood this morning than I did last night. But either way, it was a very, very comfortable evening, and I had a great sleep. There was even an owl that came out for a little bit last night, kind of hooting in the trees, so that was pretty cool. But it is definitely a magical scene out here this morning with this hot cup of coffee, down-filled pants, wool hoodie. Beautiful out here, beautiful. So I'm gonna have a nice, slow, mellow morning this morning. I'm gonna drink my coffee right here, make my way back over to the tent, probably do up some oatmeal, maybe chill out inside for a little bit, and then pack up the process while I still have wood, because it's never fun packing up when your hands are cold and there's no heat source. So we'll get back over to the tent as soon as I'm done with this coffee, guys. Alright, so I just emptied out the pot. All the coffee is now gone. Just going to finish this up, and I'm going to be making my oatmeal in my cup. That's why I'm trying to finish up the coffee and get all the dishes cleaned out. Get the kettle back on top of the wood stove, because I am going to need hot water for oatmeal. But I got to say, guys, it is very crisp and cold. So when I got up this morning and I came out of the tent, I did a little bit of a kind of like a woods walk. I just walked in a large circle through the snowy trees just to warm up my legs, just to kind of stretch my body, and then came back to the tent and then started on coffee. And sometimes doing that little walk, just kind of get up and stretch your body instead of frantically trying to light a fire, trying to do fine dexterity tasks with your fingers and your body. Sometimes it's just easier to just kind of walk for a few minutes and warm up, and then come back and do those small tasks. And that's often what I do to help warm up. So I'm just going to finish this up and then start on 2 packs of oatmeal. I'm probably going to sit inside because it is very warm in there, and maybe push my sleeping bag out of the way and just kind of sit on the pad in front of the fire and eat some oatmeal out of the cup, guys. So let's finish up this coffee. Alright guys, I've just about got everything packed away. I still got my saw and my shovel to put on the outside of the pack. Everything was wet and frozen, so the tent, the ground sheet, all of that was frozen, and I had to take my gloves off to pack it away, so that is not fun anytime you're out winter camping. My hands are frozen cold right now, so I'm just going to slip these back on really quick. I will mention that the shovel that I'm using on this trip, I know I'm going to get asked the brand and a link for it. The truth is, I don't have a link for it because I purchased it probably about 10 years ago from a local Canadian Tire, and I believe it was like $14. There are shovels that look identical to this on Amazon with a collapsible handle, so I don't have a link for it, but it is just a trusty little shovel that I bring with me all the time. It is aluminum, and it works really well, so I like bringing it in the wintertime when I'm doing certain campouts to help shovel out the area. So that's the shovel, and the saw, of course, is my Boreal 24. I like the 24, it's just easier cutting, less work, just more teeth on the blade to cut, and it works really well. So that is everything squared away inside of the backpack. I had to let the stove cool down a little bit, and like I said, the tent was totally frozen, so it's a total gong show in the backpack right now. It's not going to be fun unpacking home and cleaning and drying everything, but that's part of the game. So that is everything that I've got for you guys today. I've got 4 or 5 pieces of firewood left on the ground and the tent spot, as you guys can see right there. So if you guys enjoyed the video, definitely let me know down in the comment section, and drop down your questions as well. So peace out, guys. I'll see you in the next one.